Yep, that's about to come off.
Oh boy.
They did a number on it. Oh, wow. Well, didn't work.
I love fixing things, dude. So good. Nice work.
But I think it turned out pretty good. At least better than before.
Hey, this core came to us destroyed on one of the pistons. I think it overheated, dropped a valve seat or a valve. The valves were broke off, cracked the piston. I mean, it's a mess. And usually when that happens and the rest of the pistons look like this, it's because an injector failed and overheated the cylinder. Now though, come here. This is the block that was destroyed. So you can see here all the gouging where that piston grabbed this cylinder wall. So we're gonna have to sleeve this hole to save the core. We're talking about problems with cores. That's not really a big problem. That's a sleeve, do it all the time. But this is a problem. Guy sends me, this is 6.7 Cummins core. This isn't a problem either. I've got broken studs in here, you know, that's just another day at the office. Okay, no problem. This is for the oil pan rail. Somebody decided that this stud, you know, they were trying to fix this before we got to it. We got this piece of it out, but what happened here is they left that in there and their drill bit went over to the side. It walked. And you can see how that hole's wallowed out. The repair would be to entirely heat this block up, so I'd have to build an oven around the block, heat it up to about 1200 degrees, and then I'd weld this up. I'd completely weld that hole up, and then I'd recenter on it and create a new hole and tap it. However, that's cost prohibitive. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use 2 different time certs. I'm gonna enlarge that hole. This is for a pan rail. It's not a main bearing or anything like that. It's 15, 20 foot-pounds of torque to get that bolt in there. And then I'm gonna recenter that and put 2 time certs, and when I'm done, you won't even know it's been fixed. So I'll show you how we're gonna do that.
I've gone ahead and already prepped these 2 while they're shinier. They were all originally that corroded. First step to getting any sort of decent weld is always your prep here, so I'm gonna clean off this one as well. At least give myself a better chance here of maybe working. I got a lot of comments saying that on iron that TIG isn't gonna work for me, saying it spreads heat too much. On iron, I actually generally prefer TIG because it doesn't spatter. I like the way that it's generally cleaner, and I can control my heat with just the torch onto the stud itself and leave it there for as long as I need to expand that bolt. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and try to do, but I'm also gonna try to show you a couple options for extracting these bolts. Fresh tungsten on the welder here, gave myself a nice sharp tip to give myself a better chance here. I'm gonna try to go for it on this top one here. First thing I'm gonna do, a lot of people recommended adding a washer. You don't really need it if you use a flange nut. Some people said you don't even need to do the nut itself, you can just weld a T on it and wiggle it free, so I'll try that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do this first one without using a nut on it at all. Just try to give myself a little T handle essentially with the weld. I'm gonna see if that's enough to give me the leverage to get it free. Looks like I'm a little thin on it there, so that isn't gonna work. I don't think I got enough heat into the bottom of it there. When I reach a point where I know it's not gonna move, see if I can knock it free. I don't wanna put wax into an area where I might need to weld again, so this time I'm gonna get to it from the back side and see if I can get any of that wax to get in there, but it didn't melt, so I need to get a little more heat onto it. So that looks like it actually got the heat to the back side of the bolt, so we'll see if this will turn out now. Nope. So I'm gonna go back to my method here and see if just welding a nut onto it gives me both the heat spread out through it and the leverage to properly get it off so it stays on. Get the feeling this one is not going to come free that easily. Don't see the actual bolt moving either. Huh. Yep, that's about to come off. Oh boy. See if a little penetrating oil on the backside might help me. So this time I've tried leaving my torch on for about 45 seconds on just the stud itself to see if that would introduce enough heat, give us a little bit of that expansion and cooling action once it's properly cooled. I'll try my wax on the front side this time. Try wax on the back side. And I finally got it to move there. So the first one, tried it with just the T-handle, not enough leverage that way. Second one, tried to just go straight onto it really quickly with a nut and no penetrating oil of any kind, and I didn't get anything out of it at all. This third time, I used the TIG torch to just sit the heat right there onto the stud for as long as I could, and then penetrating oil and wax from the back side and from the front side, and now we're here. You need every advantage you can and a lot of patience to get bolts out the right way. And now I'm just sitting here working the wax back into the threads about a half turn at a time because that's all I'm getting out of it. But I believe it's about to come free. And that is coming loose. I've tried a lot of different methods. I've tried MIGing these. I've tried putting washers on stuff. I've tried other things besides this silicroyl penetrant and this wax block. This way seems to work the most consistently in the most situations, but every situation is going to be different. I'm just going to immediately go to that same process I used for when it worked and see if it comes free the first time. And what I'm actually looking for there is you can see the red coloration actually disappear very quickly if it's still getting really good contact with the block. But if that red heat fades very slowly, it doesn't have a good heat sink for that heat to fade into. So you can tell when it's loosened up to some degree with stuff like that. That's also really useful on like oil galley balls. For round surfaces in a small hole. But here we go. So see how quickly that red hot cooled off almost immediately. I get the feeling that it's still making a lot of really good contact with the block. At this point, I'm gonna stop here. Use a combination of heat and the hammer to try to free it up so it's not contacting as well. Then I think this time I'm probably just gonna go straight to welding this nut onto it. That one stayed red a little longer. We're starting to lose grip on the block. I'm gonna go ahead and put the nut on. All right, we'll cool that down with the wax a little bit, front and back sides. Knock it with the hammer while it's cooling. Give it a second here, and we'll see if we can get this one on the first try. I can feel a little bit of movement here, so I think we did it on the first try. We're just gonna have to work it back and forth. I can feel it wanting to break free of corrosion at some point, so I'm gonna go all the way in, penetrant, all the way out as far as it'll go, penetrant, and see if that'll be enough to work us free. Yes, sir. One more of those. Let's see if we can get it done the first time as well. That is all three there. You guys can tell me if you think I missed something or if there's something else you want me to try in the future.
They messed this thing up pretty damn bad, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try whatever I can. You'd think if you messed up one, you'd maybe do better on the second one.
Oh, have fun.
I won't. A lip that it cuts so that it sits flush. I think I'm not gonna do that so that it sits a little higher and it still crushes the threads out, because when you run the installer in, it's actually tighter down here and it pushes this outside out to hold it. They tried to repair these threads. They drilled them way wrong. They were off center. They also drilled them angled. So I couldn't just do a normal thread repair. This is the first time I'm trying it, but it seems like it's working. I'm basically taking a bigger thread repair insert, so drilling out the holes for a bigger thread repair insert and putting another thread repair insert inside of that one to make up all the space that I had to drill out. It's a pretty small hole. This is an M8 by 125 hole, and the way they drilled it over here, that's the original bolt, so they're way off center. So for me to get this back to the center, I have to drill way bigger than I would like to. So I had to put this big thread repair insert, and then I'm gonna put this smaller one inside of that one. And then I'll come back and I'll shave the top of that flush with this pan rail. And when this goes through, this is an installer for a time cert. The bottom of that insert's actually kind of tapered in, so when this goes through, it'll push those threads out and lock it in place. We have the outer big insert, the insert I put inside of that one, and then we're back to the same thread that was originally there. So I'm gonna let the fluid weld that I put on it cure, and now we'll have to go and do this one basically the same way that we just did that. That's the original bolt that they tried to drill out, and clearly they didn't do a very good job, unfortunately. You can see right here, that's the original threads. And then this is where their drilling ended up. They did a number on it. Oh wow. You can see even down here it's angled, so like you're didn't work. I think I milled the top off too much on this one where it started to come out. So I think I'm going to try to install another one. So this is like kind of like a glue. They call it fluid weld. We use it, we'll put it on valve seats and valve guides and stuff so that they don't pop back out. Normally on these inserts I'd just put some sort of thread locker, but I really don't want this to come out, so using fluid weld. kind of need like a little shoulder so that they bottom out. And when I went to cut the top down, it kind of removed that. So then it was able to just pass through instead of kind of sit on that little shoulder. Still a little lip that I'll probably have to cut down, but there'll still be some of that it's seating on. But now for this one, I think I'll do it differently, do it initially where I put that shoulder in. But I think it turned out pretty good, at least better than before. All these bolts are spaced the same throughout this whole rail. So what I did is I got the locations of these and then added from this location that same spacing to find the original center. So now that I'm at that, you can see the probe for that original hole on the right side. The probe goes perfectly into that. So this is the position that we're going to drill off of to bring it back to the original location. This is the easiest and best solution besides making our own intake.
This is so perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I just got this one. I mean, you can still see there's still a little. I put fluid weld because I don't want this thing coming out at all. But you can still see it didn't fully make it around, but there's still enough thread engagement. That thing is not coming out.
Yeah, for an oil pan,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're, I don't know.
15, 20 foot-pounds?
Yeah, max.
Yeah, but this one here, the one, and so now you'll just put...
So now I'll just put the little counter bore.
Right.
And that'll just...
Loctite that in there and
I'm fluid welding.
That's sweet, dude.
I don't want it coming out at all.
That's why I have a machine shop. I love fixing things, dude. So good. Nice work.
And that's it. Yep, all finished. Oil pan bolt in there. Nice and straight.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this repair. In the next video, we're gonna walk you through all the machine work we gotta do now on the block, that we fixed the block, which will be decking, boring, honing, line honing, vertical honing, getting it ready for build.